Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Amy. And this video is a part 2, so if you haven't watched part 1, I would go and do that now, or else this one isn't going to make a whole lot of sense to you. So this is part 2 of how I prepare my houseplants for spring. Part 1 I called an honest chat, and I really kind of got real with you about how I was feeling about my collection. In general, I had kind of fallen out of love with it. I just wasn't really vibing with my collection whatsoever, and I really needed to change things up. But the first part of that was really to tell you how I actually feel. I went through the reasons why I think this happened in the first video. Just wanted to say how grateful I am for all of your comments. It really does seem like, you know, with this hobby that people go through this kind of in and out through the hobby. And also, I just want to say, like, so many of you are so good at recognizing, you know, whether or not this hobby is serving you, and if you recognize that you're maybe not loving a part of it so much, that you actually know what steps you need to take to really like rekindle your love for it and make your collection work for you and your lifestyle. So well done to you all. You're all so smart. But I just really appreciate all of the nice supportive comments, and you know, it really made me feel better about the whole situation. So thank you guys. Before we get into part 2, I do want to talk to you guys a little bit about my favorite jewelry company, Ana Luisa. Some of you may already know this, but Ana Luisa are 100% carbon and water neutral jewelry company. They are carbon neutral certified, which means that all of their processes, materials and distribution are tracked so that they can offset emissions and just really be aware of every aspect of their process so they can be better and be more sustainable with their jewelry. They also support some really important conservation projects, and they're very open on their website about all of their methodology reports and their tracking. So if you are interested, I would encourage you to go to their website and read all of that. I love their transparency. And today they have a new collection that I want to tell you guys all about. So in this new collection, they have 6 personality pendants, which all kind of represent a different side of people. And these are earth, water, fire, air, light, and spirit. The drawings on these beautiful pendants are handmade, and they have a lovely vintage finish to them. They are brass with 14K gold plated on top of that, and the little diamonds are cubic zirconia, which is basically like a lab grown diamond alternative. So the one that I have on right now is the earth pendant. Let me just zoom in and show you guys how beautiful this is. So this is the earth pendant. Of course, this is the one that I would pick, duh, because plants and earth and all of those nice things. If you already follow me on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, all the things, and you know that I love Ana Luisa jewelry, and I've been wearing their pieces in videos and just in general life for quite a long time now. So if you're interested in picking up one of these 6 personality pendants, you can click the link in the description box and also use code AmyAdwan20 for 20% off. So part 2 of this video is me rearranging my entire collection. Well, at least the majority of my collection that's in this office. So I filmed this over about 2 or 3 days. It took quite a while, but I just started. I went through each plant, I watered what needed to be watered, I took cuttings, I, you know, trimmed things back where I needed to, and I also like cleaned everything and wiped everything down. I then essentially like put all of the plants on the floor, and that even migrated to outside this room, and started to just put them back and rearrange them. I did set aside some plants that I just really am not getting along with. I just don't care about anymore. I haven't dealt with them yet, but they're in a separate room, so they're out of my mind. No, but I'm either going to do one of 3 options for these. I'm either going to sell them, give them away, or just compost them, and I will deal with them in due course. But yeah, so the rest of the video, I'm just going to kind of do a voiceover over time lapses and walk you through what I've done, and you can follow along the process. All in all, I'm really happy that I did this. I can't believe it took me so long to make that small step, but you know, it is what it is and we're here now. But yeah, I will go through my final thoughts at the end of the video and just walk you through what I'm really feeling. But yeah. So here begins the big process of taking every plant down. I'm basically just assessing each one, seeing does it need a new pot, are there any signs of pests, any signs of yellowing on the leaves or chlorosis, which you should all know from the Plant Basics series episode 1. Cutting leaves back that don't look too hot. And I have this big list. I was writing down every plant that needs a new pot onto a list so that I can look at that later and see if I need to buy new pots, if I have pots I can use already, where I can find them from, etc. I also cut this variegated hibiscus back quite a bit. I have a plant care tips video for this on my channel. This is probably the most I've ever cut it back, but I'm confident enough with how long I've had that plant for that it will be okay. This Scindapsus has been so viney, just with no leaves, so it really needed to be cut back as well. But this plant took me many years to figure out for some reason, and I've had it for a long time, maybe like 4 years, 3-4 years, but it didn't do well for me for at least 2 or 3 of those years. The aesthetic of all of my branches throughout this room, which I ended up kind of tying onto the shelves as well. And while I think that looks nicer and tried to cover up how much I hate these shelves, I really just hate the artificial chrome look, and I was trying to make it look more natural. While it did work, oh my god, the saddest Monstera siltepecana you've ever seen. But yeah, while it looked better, it just made the room so chaotic and meant that every time I touched anything, there were lichen coming off, etc, etc. So this is a big change which may surprise some of you, but I took down this climbing wall. I just hated the way that this looks. While very practical and great for growing a lot of my bigger climbing plants on, it just looked ugly. I didn't like it. It looked unfinished. It looked just thrown up there. I think it would look better if the cork kind of sections would have kind of borders on them or something to confine them, because they just look put there and weird, and I really didn't like them. But I did leave one of them behind, which I think is fine for me. It doesn't look bad, and I can put the most important plants on that one to use. So this is the next day. I'm coming in, I'm dancing a bit, so just ignore that. But I started with basically picking the plants that definitely need the most light. For example, the cacti and lithops straight under the Spider Farmer grow light, because they really do need to be there, and cleaning everything down as I go. But that's how I approach rearranging, is I start with the plants that definitely have a specific requirement for light and stuff like that, and then from there I just go out from there basically. This this is just an example of how I do it. So I'll have an idea of where to put a certain plant that it might look nice, and I'll try it out, then I'll stand back, and then I'll probably be like, no, this does not look good, this is not practical, this is awkward or whatever, and I'll take it off. And it's just about going through every single plant like that and seeing what you think looks good, and also what kind of serves you and how you like to take care of your plants. So a big strategy that I changed was it sounds simple, but putting big plants at the back and then smaller plants to the front, so that I don't have to reach through bigger plants and lose smaller ones behind the shelves, if that makes sense. I really liked where I put this Rhaphidophora decursiva. I think it ended up really looking quite nice here, and it's quite practical that it gets the support of the shelf. But yeah, that's essentially what the plant styling or rearranging process that I go through. Putting the Gloriosum up high was a big change, because this took up so much floor space, and that was really irritating me. My desk is kind of situated where the camera is, if you don't know, and so the plants were just getting slowly and slowly more closer to my desk, and making me feel like I had no space on the floor. I also do a lot of yoga, and that's like my real me time in the evenings. And I was finding that if I was doing certain poses or stretching out too much, I was hitting plants, and it just wasn't working. So a big like main goal of mine was to get stuff off the floor as much as I could. And I think I achieved that in the end. Now, not every plant is in a new position. There's obviously plants that can't go anywhere else, or, you know, there's nowhere else really for them to go, or they're happy there and I'm happy with how they look. So not everything has a new spot, but it's basically just going through and changing what I want to change. This marble queen has gotten so big, you guys. It has actually gotten out of control, and some of the leaves are so massive. You might have seen that in my big plants video I did a couple of weeks ago. But this is great. In time, I actually want to get some invisible hooks or something to go along the wall and have this trailing up high along the wall. I think we'll be really happy like that, but I just haven't got anything to really secure it to the wall at the moment. This clarinervium was just not going there. But yeah, that's essentially what it is. So like I said, not everything has a new spot, but new spots where they need it to be. And it's kind of coming together now. And if I couldn't find a spot for a plant like that one I just put down, I just put it back on the floor. And it's a lot of like staring at stuff and thinking, will this go well there? Will it suffer there? Will it look happy there? And then after that, do I like the way that it looks? Chopping off any growth that I need to off this Rufidifora, I can't remember the name of. But yeah, that's essentially what it is. And also just going with your instinct, you know, if you like the look of something as well. And I really enjoy that process. It's kind of like a mindful process of trusting yourself and how you want things to look. So I've said it already, but I am really happy with how this turned out, and I think it really it made it more practical for me. Like I said, those plants I was just putting there, small plants to the front so that I can easily access everything. Oh my god, this plant is so sad. But I put it under the light, the lower down spider farmer, so I'm hoping it will get better there. But that's essentially it, guys. I'm nearly done here. I do have 2 more hooks to put up for Hoyas that I want up high on the wall, on the left and the right, those kind of gaps. But aside from that, it's essentially pretty much there. And also I chopped this way back, guys, because it just started looking really shitty. So I have a really small plant now, and that's another big thing that I did. If I thought a plant was too big and it didn't need to be, and it was taking up too much space, I just cut it back down, because, you know, what's the point? And all of my cuttings that I took, and the best, most satisfying part, because this is messy. I was throwing stuff on the ground, like, didn't care, because I knew I was going to clean it. I cleaned under the shelves as I went, but it's so satisfying cleaning up all the mess after. I don't know if you like that too. But that's essentially it, guys. That's me rearranging the bulk of my houseplant collection. So that is it, you guys. I'm going to show you some final clips here to walk you through what everything looks like right now. I'm really, really, really happy with how this turned out. It's actually quite amazing how different this has made me feel towards my collection. I'm just, I know it may not be like the most major change, but just fixing things, like my different strategies for how I arrange stuff based on aesthetic and what plants like what kind of level of light and positions and all of that, but also just like practical things that I noticed over the last year that made things really difficult for me was like silly things like putting tall plants to the front so that small plants in the back were just getting forgotten about and were just awkward for me to reach. So I just wouldn't I just wouldn't go and do it, basically. So I've kind of moved a lot of the tall plants to the back of shelves and keep them at the back, and then smaller plants to the front so that they're easily accessed and I'm not like kind of knocking through stuff to go through to other plants, if you know what I mean. There is 2 more things I've left to do, and that's to put up 2 more of those kind of wall brackets for terracotta. There's 2 Hoyas that I want to put up on the back wall, but other than that, it's kind of like the finished product. I'm really, really happy with it. And it has made me fall in love with my collection again. So I'm really happy about that. Yeah, it's just amazing how, like, it's, I know I have a lot of plants, but it's quite a simple thing, and it's amazing how doing that can really shift your attitude towards it, or like your enjoyment of the hobby. I am kind of like, why didn't I do this earlier? But I'm not beating myself up for it, because, you know, I had a really, really busy year and a lot of changes and things going on in my personal life that, like, I don't make myself feel bad for it whatsoever. I guess I kind of had to go through that as well in order to learn that I need to keep a better eye maybe on how I approach this hobby, and if things are getting out of hand or I'm not feeling a certain way, a positive way about things, to change that sooner rather than later, and not just go through and leave it the way it was, which it sounds like from comments on the first video that a lot of you are very good at doing that. So well done, guys, but it's something I need to be better at for sure. So that is part 2. I hope that you enjoyed watching it and enjoyed the kind of revival of my houseplant collection. Part 3 that I'm going to do next is probably a big repotting session. As you've seen in one of the clips, when I went through the entire collection, I basically wrote down the names of plants that need new pots, so that I can just have a list. I know which I already have pots for, I know which pots I need to go out and get, or, you know, find somewhere. So that's going to be part 3, and then part 4 I'm kind of going to go through cleaning leaves and treating for pests, which I haven't done a video on just yet. But you can see what I do. It's not that complicated. It's really straightforward, just about managing. So you can look forward to part 4. I do want to remind you that if you are interested in one of the 6 personality pendants from Louisa, then you can click the link in my description. And for 20% off, you can use the code AmyAdwan20. Please do support them. If you've been interested in looking at their stuff for quite a while now, this is your chance to get a little bit of money off and also support me and support Louisa at the same time, and also just get some beautiful jewelry. So that is it for this video. I hope that you guys enjoyed it. I'm really excited for parts 3 and 4. I'm feeling much more on track, and thank you all for watching. I will see you very soon in the next video. Bye.